And it's already Monday. Let's see what we need to do. It's gonna be a busy week. For today, we do need to open all the sinks and samples that we cast at the end of last week. I have an idea to organize our storage area because we're not using it to its full potential. So the plan is to actually store all of our ready basins in there and potentially even have a packing station. I do want to organize our casting area. I've already used it for a few days and I know what I need to do for it. This morning, I'm a bit late in the workshop. It's 9:30 and it's because I went to template the balcony job that I told you last week. We are starting with the first balcony. We're gonna do cabinets and concrete countertops for this one. I do also want to do a basin for the workshop. I'll show you in a second. It's in the casting area. I do want to make something special. And I also have a confirmation about the formwork I was supposed to start last Friday. We have the sizes and we have the finish. And the basin in question is this one. I do want to change it. I dislike it. I disapprove it. It should not exist in the world. I will fix the wall, take that off, make a new one and just make it look better. On a side note, I got some feedback from last week's video. Everyone said that it's great, but it's too long. So what I will start doing is, as soon as we hit the 20 to 30 minute mark, I will post the video and we may have just a short weekly recap. Like I mentioned earlier, the idea for these videos are to be as real as possible and show you how a workshop really operates. Things take time in order to make them properly. And I will continue explaining as much as possible and show as much as possible. If it's entertaining, that's great. If you learn something, that's amazing. If you don't like it, thanks for stopping by. All the sinks and samples are out and they look amazing. Have a look at these. Color is nice and stable. I cannot be happier. And here are they all next to each other. New sinks also looking perfect, but this is why we have our procedures and systems in place about quality control. Every single time we get perfect results. And with the new materials, the sand and the cement, they just look amazing. The pattern is just exceptional. They actually look alive. This is what we want to see. Those sinks will stay here for 24 hours because this is our curing station before I can process them, polish, grind and start sealing. Now for the new samples, usually we just allow them to air dry, but I'm not a patient man and I've got something that will show me the final color or close to the final color a little bit sooner so I can continue casting the new samples. And it is this machine, a dehydrator. In less than an hour, it will pull the moisture from the samples and it will show me what they will actually look like. We'll leave those for at least an hour and we'll check back on them a bit later. I also went ahead and painted the trolleynator. I'm sure he'll serve us well. It doesn't need a name and the trolleynator sounds cool, so trolleynator. Now I think it only makes sense to continue with the storage space, clean up, organize it so that the tools are on one side and all the ready basins are on this side. The space is pretty big, so I'm curious if we can set up a packing table here so that all the basins that are ready can be just pulled off the shelf, packed and ready for postage. It kind of makes sense because here the basins will be away from all the dust and grime in the workshop. Even though we do run a clean workshop, as maybe you have noticed, I believe that it's better to keep clean than keep cleaning up. That actually sounds cool. It's better to keep clean than keep cleaning up. And the storage area is complete. Scoured the depths of the workshop and I found another cabinet that actually the trusty trolleynator helped me move in. That gives us plenty of storage for basins that are ready. I'll cut another shelf for that second cabinet and everything looks nice and neat. There's plenty of space. The tools are packed away. So job done. And now it's time to organize the casting area. There's quite a lot I need to do, so we better get started because I want it to be finished before I cast the new samples. But before that, let's check on the samples. And I think they're done. Now, an important note, force drying concrete is never a good idea, because concrete gets its strength from a simple chemical reaction called hydration. So you want the moisture in the concrete to naturally escape as it's curing to ensure that it will reach the strength it's supposed to. Since these are only samples and they're not a finished product, it's fine, because the main reason for me to do it is because I just want to see what they will look like so that I can continue with the color samples. You can see the difference in the color. These are the fresh samples that haven't been baked and they're so much darker, mainly because of the moisture trapped inside. Now I'll leave the baked samples to even out. Because they have been force dried, they're drier than the air around them, so they will naturally pull some of the moisture back inside without changing the color too much, of course, but it will show me somewhat what the concrete will look like once it's fully cured. Now I thought I'd take the time to answer a comment that I just read. It's from Alistair Gregor. First, thank you for the kind words. It means a lot. First, you have a question about why we cover the molds in plastic and a blanket if needed for the first 24 hours of curing. When you're producing high quality concrete, as we do, it is essential to control the curing time. If the basin cures too quickly, you might get micro cracking. If it cures too slowly, it might create another issue where the basin won't reach its full potential in terms of strength. And the way we control this is first with a plastic sheet. We want to keep as much moisture in the concrete during its first 24 hours because our formula speeds up the curing, and it's essential around the 18th hour. As you may understand, we're not always around at the 18th hour, so it's easier for us to cover the fresh concrete with a plastic sheet to ensure all the moisture stays inside, and we cover them with a blanket, especially in the winter time because the workshop is colder, to make sure that the concrete can reach the temperature it needs to reach during the curing. And in summertime, for example, we tend not to cover them with a blanket because if the concrete reaches a temperature that is too high when they're steaming hot, which usually they do in the summer, it might cause micro cracking or even like a proper crack in the basin. You've also gave us nice feedback about the music in the background. I will do better, so thank you for that. I will also thank you for the advice on securing our workshop. I will have a look at those locks and also on the sonic alarm system. I've never heard of it, but I will research smoke machines and strobe lights. I will definitely have a look. Thank you. And I'm sorry to hear that you've been a victim of theft. Sadly, it happens, and we just need to do what we can to protect what we do. Especially for you, I'll try to do a close-up of our basins, the ones that are ready, right before I pack them away in our new storage. And for now, that is very important. Currently, we are updating our website. We're switching providers. We've been with Shopify for the past 10 years, and we've decided to jump onto Shopify. It will take us a few weeks, but we'll roll our new website very soon. We'll make sure to announce it here and social media. But what will be available before that is our Etsy shop. This should go live this week. In general, I need to remember that most of you are likely not familiar with concrete, and I kind of go about my day just thinking that you're along with me for the ride and you've been with me since the start, so I will try to explain as much as possible. And I think it's a good time to start now. Why concrete? Concrete is an amazing material. First, it can be formed into any shape and size, and you can achieve any color with it, mostly any color. And it's one of the few, if not the only material in the world that gets stronger over time. I've mentioned this earlier in the video, but concrete gets harder and cures through a very simple chemical reaction, which is called hydration. The cement particles and the lime particles hydrate, they absorb the water in the mix, they grow bigger, they create structures that interlock into each other. The aggregate, the sand, gets locked in the middle and adds to the strength. So essentially a concrete basin, when you receive your new concrete basin, it will be the weakest it will ever be. Over time, it will continue curing, because what we do is we only seal the visible surface of the basin. The bottom part of the basin we leave unsealed so that the concrete can breathe in a way, so it can absorb moisture and release moisture depending on the conditions it is in. And that way the concrete gets stronger and stronger over time. And with that, stage one of redoing the casting area is complete. Now this corner, you have to know something about it. I don't believe in hate. I don't accept it as a feeling. I don't think we're made to feel hate. But I think that this corner was the first thing in my life that I hated. The sink was horrible, the way it was installed was horrible, and then the screed was falling off. I just could not stand it. So I went ahead and I removed the sink, fixed the wall, plus a few pieces here and there. And now we can continue. As I mentioned earlier, we are making a new sink for this place. I found that the waste for the old sink is not really connected to anything. It's just leading to the other unit, and it floods the other unit and ours. So I will not be using this waste. For now, we would likely just use a bucket. Anyway, the wastewater from this sink will be reused in our manufacturing until it becomes slowly evaporates and only leaves a solid, which then we can responsibly get rid of. But so far, I'm happy. In a sense, I want to take care of the workshop, so the workshop can take care of me. And just like that, casting area 2.0 is complete. To many of you, this may seem like a pointless moving of things around. And to some extent it is, but there are a lot of improvements which will improve my workflow. The first thing that I did is I put a plastic sheet because I don't want any of the mess or water getting into the other unit. I have lovely neighbors. I've got great relationship with them and I want to keep it. The other thing is I've moved some things around so that everything is off the floor. Now I wanted to use proper thick Now for the floor, I wanted to use a nice thick tarp to protect the area while I'm working with spills and dry materials, and I was 100% sure I hit a piece, but sadly I don't. So for now, we're gonna run it this way with a thick plastic sheet and those pieces that I found laying around. And as soon as I get my hands on a nice thick tarp, we're gonna put it on. So far, we've crossed off a few things from the list. We've opened all the concrete. We did organize the storage area and all the sinks that are ready. I've already moved them inside. And we organized the casting area. Next thing is we need to start on the balcony conversion. This morning I went and templated the job. This is the first balcony. We need to do 4 countertops. They will have a thin profile because we do need to keep the weight down, but the client does want a thicker edge. So we'll see what we can do about that. And because the apartment is on the 6th floor, the limitation for the size of the pieces is the elevator. Because we cannot fit a 2.2 meter piece, we'll make those in separate pieces. Client is fine with that. They are actually family friends and they're really understanding with the lead times. So we also need to do cabinets for these. I've already taken measurements, but because they will be changing the floor cover, that might change the height for everything. So I will wait on the cabinets. Anyway, I need to order sheet material for that. But for now, we can start on the formwork, and I'll bring the new samples today or tomorrow to them so they can have a look and pick the color and the finish. Right, so it's getting late. I've managed to do half the formwork for the balcony, and because I'm running out of time, I'll jump on to continue making the samples, and I will only take measurements for the size of the basin I want to make for the workshop, which is great because it will allow enough time for the repair on the wall I did to cure properly. And tomorrow morning I will start with the form for the basin, and ideally I'll cast it at the end of the day. So we keep going.